What's going on, guys? You're checking out a special live edition of Impact Showdown. Lee Sanders here. We're dropping this for Sunday of April 25th, 2021. We're a couple of minutes removed from the Impact Wrestling Rebellion pay-per-view event. I'm not sure how to feel right now, y'all. I gotta be honest with you guys. I gotta be totally honest with you guys. I'm feeling a little bit... I'm numb right now, to be perfectly honest with you. I really am numb because y'all know about my trepidations. Y'all know about the great concerns I've had for Impact Wrestling over these past couple of months since we've been doing this whole AEW versus Impact Wrestling, and I've gone officially on record many times during the show talking about how, man, this just feels so one-sided. This just feels like it's just all about AEW getting theirs. They're getting any and everything. They're getting the cake. They're getting the ice cream. They're getting the balloons. They're getting the prizes. They're getting the money. They're getting any and everything that their heart desires. And then when it's time to flip the script and it needs to be about Impact Wrestling, it feels as though Impact Wrestling isn't really getting anything. It feels like it's not exactly mutual. And the best analogy, just to kind of use it once again, it's like in the bedroom and when it comes to sex. There are those of us guys, whether some of you all want to admit it or not, but there are some of us guys, I used to be this way, but, you know, I changed my ways. But there's some of us guys that when it comes to the bedroom, we want any and everything. You know, we give it to us, doggy. Now, give us some head. Give us a little head. You know, give us this, give us that. You know, and when it comes time to please the female, or for those of you that are for those of you that are gay or, you know, lesbian or whatever, for those of you that are, you know, into that, hey, no judge. But, you know, when it's time to please your partner, you know, all of a sudden, you know, it's kind of half-assing, don't really want to do anything. You know, it's kind of like you got yours. It's like, you ain't get yours while I was getting mine. That's your damn fault, right? And it's kind of like that. And that's exactly how I feel with regards to AEW and Impact right now. And it's just really, really nerve-wracking right now. It really, really is. Convince me otherwise. Overall, a decent pay-per-view, I would have to say. Let me know what you guys had thought about the pay-per-view. For those of you that's going to be checking us out right now live, or you're going to be checking this out for on-demand, let me know what you thought about this pay-per-view tonight. I originally, look, I'll throw my hand up in the air. Originally, I was going to see if I could maybe pull some strings and somehow try to see if I can check out this pay-per-view for free. None of my contacts were able to come through. So I said, okay, you know what? Let me go on ahead. Let me order this pay-per-view, $39.99. All right, let me go ahead, bite the bullet this go round. I'm kind of getting the money right back anyway, right? Not to mention we had already advertised that we were going to be covering the show and everything, right? You know, we did say we were going to be doing a post-show covering it and everything. So, you know, do I regret spending the $40 on the pay-per-view? No, I don't regret it, you know, because at the end of the day, it's actually nice to do your part when you can and if you can to represent these promotions that you like, you know, show them that you are invested in their product and everything. And it just gives even more validity, I personally feel, for podcasters like myself who's been spending years, you know, interviewing talents, breaking our own respected news, covering these shows and everything. You know, it gives us even more validity to say, oh, okay, well, look, this is what's up. Versus someone that just is constantly doing the whole piracy thing. And, you know, so, you know, for me, I would tell you straight up with regards to this pay-per-view, if you did not see the pay-per-view, I would say no. Don't go out of your way. You don't have to break the piggy bank. If your finances is already a little bit tight as it is, then I would say to you, you're good. No reason for you to check out the pay-per-view. Just wait until you get this week's new Impact Wrestling, and you can pretty much catch up on what all you missed that way. If you got a little bit of money to burn, and you like all things wrestling, then to that I would say, okay, keeping that in mind, and you got some money to burn, you love your pro wrestling, you want to get that fixed, go ahead, check it out. But it's not a must see. I gotta drop everything that I'm doing, and I gotta make sure that I check out this pay-per-view. It wasn't one of those type of deals, but I will say, there was a lot of excitement, there was a lot of buzz going into this, because think about it, the main meat and potatoes, AEW title on the line against the Impact World title, right? Title versus title, winner takes all. Then you've got the Knockouts title on the line. Then you're hearing rumblings that a former WWE talent is supposed to be making their debut at this pay-per-view event. So you got all of those elements going on, and then some. Yeah, it was enough to definitely, okay, you know what? I need to see what's going on here. So, and for me, it was down to the last minute. No bullshit. For me, it was down to the last minute as far as whether or not I was going to actually order the pay-per-view. I finally made my decision about 15 minutes before the pay-per-view came on, because I was going back and forth with my girl about it, and we're trying to get ready for our wedding. We got like less than 49 days to go, just about, or 45 days to go. So we need all the money we can get right now. And at first she's like, yeah, don't do it. Nah, just take it easy. Don't do it. But then when I told her some of the things that was supposed to be happening on the card, she said, nah, you need to go ahead. You need to go ahead and order that. Stop faking. You need to check that out already. So we did get a pre-show match. Welcome, officially. This is your Impact Wrestling Rebellion 2021 pay-per-view recap show. We did get a pre-show matchup during this one. This one consisted of, and I kind of caught maybe the tail end of it. I kind of came in when there was about 3-4 minutes left in the match. Rosemary and Havok, they had teamed up to take on the team of Kimber and Susan. So for those of you, because I know some of you guys are big fans of Havok and everything, and Rosemary, they were on the pre-show. You missed them. If you didn't watch the pre-show, it's okay. It's okay. I feel for you. You might be lucky, though. You actually might be able to catch it on the Fight TV stream. You might be able to catch it that way, because I do remember watching the Countdown to Rebellion, which was free for everybody to check out. I don't know if they were streaming it on YouTube or if they were streaming it on Twitch. You all that were maybe watching or watched the Impact brand on those respected outlets, you would have to let me know how that was. Team of Rosemary, Havok defeating Kimber and Susan. Opening card, Josh Alexander, Ace Austin, TJP, three-way championship match for the Impact X Division Championship. Boys went about 11 minutes, 15 seconds. We got us a new X Division champion. It is Josh Alexander. Josh Alexander is your new X Division champion. I gotta tell you, quite a surprise. It was quite a surprise. I did not see this happening, because I was literally under the impression, and see, here's the beautiful thing about me and the fact that when it comes to the talk of Impact Wrestling, I'm like religiously watching Impact Wrestling every single week. I'm the type of Impact consumer. I have the Impact Plus app, right? And I'm paying for that monthly. I'm watching the specials. I'm watching some of the originals. I'm watching some of the classic stuff that's on there as well. So I can definitely fill in the gaps for those of you that are kind of, it seems kind of weird with Josh Alexander being the new X Division champion. What's going on with that? Other people were excited to hear that he had won and everything. For me personally, it just kind of feels weird. It just feels so out of the blue that Josh Alexander became the new X Division champion. And I only say that because it wasn't that long ago he was doing his thing with his boy, Ethan Page. And as we all know now that watch AEW programming, Ethan Page is now doing his thing over there with Scorpio Sky. Matter of fact, you go to how AEW Dynamite had pretty much ended. We had saw Page and Scorpio Sky. They did a number to Sting and Darby Allin, if you guys recall. And the Murder Hawk Lance Archer came out trying to make the save and everything. So it created a whole lot of interesting buzz going into the next week's Dynamite and everything. But I thought for sure that the way it kind of seemed things were operating in Impact shortly after Ethan Page left, as if Josh Alexander was maybe going to continue the idea of maybe having a new tag team partner, entertain it, not go full blown all in on it, entertain it, but he was going to more so focus on his singles career and everything. And we never did really see, I personally feel, that true defining moment for Josh Alexander where he really laid it all on the line as far as you know, that inspiration type of promo that, hey, for a good number of years now here in Impact, I was part of a really great tag team with, I was really looking for that to really help us define exactly, okay, so what truly is next for Josh Alexander? What's making our boy hungry? What does he have his eyes set out for? What you understand what I'm saying? And when you're watching Impact Wrestling over these past couple of weeks, you've seen him in a couple of tag teams here and there. You've seen him maybe do a couple of singles matches here and there, but nothing that really made you. Now, I'm not taking anything away from Josh Alexander. Phenomenal fucking talent. And to echo what some of you guys were saying in the Discord, by the way, shout out to the many of you that had hopped on to, either you're watching me live or you're going to be watching me on demand. But particularly shout out to those of you that was interacting with me, as I did have a viewing party for the pay-per-view. And when I say viewing party, it wasn't just a webcam on me and I'm reacting to the pay-per-view. I actually streamed the pay-per-view in a little private gathering. I didn't blast it on social media. It was just a nice little private gathering that we had going on. And there was like a decent amount of us that popped up. There was probably like about, at one time, there was probably like about maybe up to 30, just about that all we were all interacting with each other, watching it and everything. But I definitely echo the same sentiments from a lot of you guys with regards to Josh Alexander picking up the dub, which is, he's been grinding it for, a good number of years now and everything. You can't help but be happy for the guy. At the same time, though, I'm a little biased because I'm a big fan of Ace Austin. I fucking love Ace Austin. I know some people don't really like Ace Austin, but I think he's like right up there. I think he has all the potential in the world to be right up there with a MJF. Now, some people may feel that he's already there with MJF. But I just personally feel he has all the tools in the world. If you ask me right now, what's probably the one thing Ace Austin needs to work on a little bit more, like if I were to be devil's advocate for a little bit, I would say the one area I'd like to see him try to polish up even more, have a little bit more creativity and everything, just let shit hit the canvas and see what sticks. I'd like to see him do his hand on the mic more. I think that's probably the one thing that just, as far as the overall complete package, that's probably the one thing I'd like to see him work on a little bit more. I gotta tell you, I was really expecting for Ace Austin to retain the title here, but he did not. Great opener. Really had set the tone. I'm always a firm believer in, if you are opening up that pay-per-view, you're that first match, you got to make sure you set that tone. You got to make sure you're going out there and you're hitting the home run, because if that opener is going to be banging, it's like, okay, all right, well, you know what? We probably might be in for a really good moment here. I love the story that they were telling in this match, too, because Madman Fulton, my God, this dude was making his presence felt multiple times. Every time you turned around and it seemed as though TJP was coming this freaking close to getting that championship. Madman Fulton just out of nowhere. I mean, he's already tall as it is, but he's also got that serious length and everything. And he's just yoinking the hell out of TJP. I mean, after a couple of times, our boy TJP had no choice but to, okay, you know what? I need to just take your big monstrous ass out once and for all, because you just been meddling in my business way too freaking much. Closing moments of this matchup, Fulton once again tripping up TJP. And from there, Ace Austin comes in with the flop. He goes in on Josh. There's a little bit of a breakup there. TJP was able to break up a pin attempt at the last instant. He then goes outside. Meanwhile, Josh Alexander, he's going back and forth with Ace Austin. Fast forward a little bit more. TJP connects with a Mamba Splash when Alexander goes for a cover. Fulton breaks it up. Ankle lock is applied by Josh Alexander. Ace, he's out of it as Josh connects with the divine intervention there, basically. And 3 count. We got ourselves a new X Division champion. A lot of sloppy moments in this opener of a match, however, despite the fact that these were some of our best, that's leading the way for the X Division right now. It's so funny, somebody had asked a question earlier in the chat, what's going on with the X Division? I haven't watched Impact Wrestling in a couple of years. Is the X Division still banging? And some of us were like, well, wait a minute now. There was a couple of years there where the X Division was just kind of just there. They didn't have substance. They didn't have that meat and potatoes of talent and everything like what we got right now. But these men that you saw representing tonight, they did good, but a lot of sloppy moments here in this match, as well as a lot of sloppy spots for almost all the matches. I know that's kind of hard to believe, but we got to make sure that runs a little bit tighter next time. Welcome to those of you that are just now tuning in. We're doing a special live edition of our Impact Showdown series. Nice to be bringing this back for you guys once again, seeing what everybody is saying in the chat. So far, please keep the dialogue going amongst each other. Send me your thoughts about what you thought about the pay-per-view overall. If you saw it, I'll definitely sound off and read your comments a little bit later on in the show. You guys been enjoying yourselves so far, though. If you haven't done so already, please go out of your way and make sure you hit that like button, hit the subscribe, but most importantly, click on that bell so you know about more content that's coming your way on a weekly basis. Let's keep rocking. Let's keep rolling. Backstage package we get of Eric Young with his Violent by Design team, and they pretty much are getting ready for their match. Pretty much sets up the package of the rivalry that's been going on past couple of weeks. Next matchup on the card, Violent by Design. So we thought Eric Young was going to get involved in this, but no, he actually just grabbed a chair and he was watching everything that was going on. You're like, oh, okay, cool. So it was Rhino. Let me make sure I got all the names here. So we had Rhino, we had Diener, we had Joe Doring, and we had a mystery man. Because remember, this was pretty much a 6-man tag match, basically. And we had a mystery man. And so the question now becomes, okay, well, if Eric Young's not going to be coming out there, then who the hell is the mystery man, if at all? Like what's going on here? And all of a sudden, we get this graphic on the Tron here, and it says Morrissey. So you're going, John Morrison? Morrissey? What the hell? And we see none other than Big Cas, Cas XL. So he is now calling himself in Impact W. Morrissey. I bullshit you not. He's calling himself W. Morrissey. I just couldn't help but have shades of the Stone Cold Steve Austin autobiography from last weekend. And who was it? Was it Dutch Mantel? I'm trying to remember who it was. And he asked me, said, "All right, kid, what's your name?" Right, well, my name is Steve Williams. I told him, I said, "My name's Steve Williams." "Well, hell, son, you can't go out there and call yourself Steve Williams. We already got a Dr. Death Steve Williams running around. Can't go with that. You gotta change your name." Come on back about 20 minutes later before my match. "All right, what name you come up with?" Said, "Shit, I ain't got shit, boss." "All right then, kid. Your name is Steve Austin." You're just kind of looking at Big Cas and you're going, okay, we couldn't come up with another name, like just W. Morrissey. That's what we're going to, and those of us that know our wrestlers and all that, we go, oh, okay, so basically his real name. Okay, cool. Now, I've seen some of the stuff that he's been doing on the independents. So how he looked tonight at Rebellion was no surprise to me. Although, a picture, you understand what I'm saying? When you see a picture and you're not really in a good position where, okay, well, show me live action, show me video footage. And most of the stuff I've been seeing of him as of late has just been still images. I haven't seen any video footage. So be able to actually see the man, live, on a pay-per-view. He looked pretty damn good. He looked like he's been taking good care of himself. I know some people may question exactly what is he doing. Some people, look, let's be real. Some people, they don't believe in the whole, I'm 49, I use Bowflex, and I'm in a rock and roll band. I'm living the American dream with Bowflex. It's like, not everybody believes that, say your prayers, taking your good old vitamins and you hitting that Bowflex, right? Watching them carbs, it's speculatory, right? That's for you guys. Me personally, I think he looks great. He's in the best fucking shape that I've seen him in. Even when he was in WWE, I mean, just period. I mean, he's in the best shape of his career right now. He looks like a bona fide fucking star. He does. So I'm happy for the man. I really am. I mean, this is a guy that, if you remember, I was pulling for him big time. The moment that he got released from WWE, while everybody was doing their reactions, commenting, making fun of him, calling him all kinds of names, calling him stupid for, essentially wasting the opportunity that he had while employed with WWE and everything. My whole thing was, he's young. Let the guy go out there, let him get some experience under his belt. And eventually he'll come back. He'll come back to the WWE. He's got to go through some growing pains. Let him go through what he needs to go through. But everything happens for a reason. Everything will be full circle with him. Just wait and see. And I tell you what, nothing was even more heartbreaking than seeing the shape that he had got in. It was pretty obvious he was battling some demons. He was supremely out of shape. It's one thing if, I'm taking it easy. I'm just enjoying life now. I don't care about working now. And I'm just, I'm me. I'm just happy as I am, right? I'm content with my own skin. I love myself. That's all that matters. But, he looked like, I don't know if you guys saw some of that stuff that was out there about him, but he looked as though he was really struggling with some demons. Supremely out of weight. I mean, the guy looked as though he was probably about somewhere between 50, maybe 55 pounds out of weight. I mean, he looked ghostly in the face. I don't know what was going on with him, but, I'm glad that he took some time away from the business and everything. Remember, we were probably one of only a few podcasts that was out there that, did not make fun of him and all that other shit. We really were, hey, whatever's going on, nothing but the best. Stay the course. Get the help that you need, one day at a time. Don't worry about pro wrestling. Just get your affairs in order. Get your life in order first. So, he looks like a completely different person when you saw him tonight compared to, pretty much when we had last saw of him and everything. So this is good. This is a great acquisition for Impact Wrestling personally. And I'm looking forward to seeing what the 34-year-old W. Morrissey is going to be able to do. As far as how he looked in the ring, everything that you came to know and kind of dug of him when he was in the WWE, there was nothing different. There was nothing different about him and his move set and all that in the WWE, from the WWE to Impact. There was nothing different whatsoever. So yeah, that was your mystery. That was your mystery partner there for Violent by Design, as they took on the team of Chris Sabin, Willie Mack, Eddie Edwards. Okay of a match. That's actually okay of a match. Team of Violent by Design picking up the dub. Now, one of the main questions they're going to have to tackle with this one: why did W. Morrissey join VBD? Why did he join them? Because right now, for some people, it's, and I don't blame you guys, it's kind of not really believable what's going on with him. I hear what you guys are saying, but hear what I am saying. And I wouldn't be surprised if this is the way that it was spun for the W. Morrissey character in Impact. I would not be surprised if what they ran with was me, I'm paraphrasing here. I could picture W. Morrissey saying in a promo package, I was lost. I was like many of other folks out there. I was weak. I was definitely a sheep. I caved into different vices. I got to a very low point in my life. And this man right here, Eric Young, he saved me. I mean, it's right there. It might not make sense to a lot of you guys, but like, to be able to just bend reality a little bit there and use that experience and all that, turn it into a story arc. The more you kind of just take a step back and you really think about it, it actually makes a lot of sense that he would be with VBD. So just kind of have that in the back of your head and look for that in the coming weeks and everything. But they did good, highlighting him for his debut and everything, giving him his nice, big moment in the ring and everything. I was a little bit concerned because you've got this tag match that's going on, and as you guys know, when it comes to tag matches, the more participants that you put in these tag matches, it's kind of like, okay, we're trying to focus over here, and then, we got action in the ring, but then we got some stuff that's going on outside the ring, and then, okay, and, there could be so much, and you're trying to, okay, what's going on here? What exactly am I focusing on here? I need to focus on just what's going on, and then add into the mix. Oh, yeah, by the way, on top of this multi-tag team match, we're also going to have a new person debut. That can be a lot for a fan to really kick back and be able to process and everything. But the fact that, let me put it to you this way. If you've been watching the Impact product, you've been seeing these two respected teams in some form going at one another these past several weeks on Impact programming. So you're already comfortable with these guys. You're going to get a decent tag match. But the fact that you add Cas into the mix, this big, tall, menacing, jacked up looking dude, all of a sudden what you're mainly focused on is this big dude, what the hell is he going to do? And from the moment he pretty much came out there, yeah, dominated in fashion. Probably the only thing I didn't quite enjoy, if I had one bone to pick on with this match, I would say I wasn't really a fan of seeing my man Chocolate Thunder, Willie Mack, eat the pinfall. I really wasn't comfortable with that. My whole thing was, just kind of looking at the names down, I'm kind of going, damn. We couldn't have the Cowboy James Storm do the number, or better yet, we couldn't have Chris Sabin. Hell, let's leave James Storm and my man Willie Mack alone. We couldn't go with Chris Sabin. I mean, that was just kind of head scratching for me. I don't know how it was for you guys, but that was definitely head scratching for me. Next matchup of the card made a lot of us groan. I actually went and used the bathroom. I actually I actually fed my dog while this match was going on. Brian Myers taking on Matt Cardona. Yeah, these guys. By the way, you're Violent by Design taking on Sabin, Edwards, Storm, Willie Mack. And forgive me, it was technically an 8-man tag match, technically. That was about 10 minutes and some change. Brian Myers defeating Matt Cardona, 9 minutes and some change. This did not feel like a pay-per-view match. It did not feel like a pay-per-view quality match. And what was really interesting, I don't listen to, every single wrestler that's out there that puts a podcast out. I don't. I have my guilty favorites. But nowadays I'm mainly into non-wrestling podcasts. When I'm not talking wrestling and I'm not listening to my boys that's talking wrestling, shout out to my boys, Wrestling Soup, Don Tony and them, shout out to them, Solar Monster, shout out to those guys. But, when I'm not showing them love, I like to decompress and go outside the talk of wrestling. And one lingering question that I always had on my mind as I was watching this match, and I actually posed the question in the chat while we were doing our viewing party. I said to them, all right, riddle me this now. Give it to me. Are these guys by chance still doing their podcasts? I know they talk about toys and all that. Are they still doing their podcasts? And a bunch of people were like, still, they never quit. Like, they stay doing it. Like, okay, that's all I needed to know, because my whole deal was, look, I never was a fan of this feud. I got to be honest with you. I never was a fan of this feud. I always personally felt that they should have been dancing around each other, the way that it should have been booked. Just missed opportunities, missed chance encounters. I just personally felt this should have been dragged out for as long as humanly possible until you absolutely, okay, we've tried to come up with every single possible scenario and we've got no choice now. We got to have these guys run into each other. And, we didn't get that opportunity, and my whole thing was, okay, we got Zack Ryder in the company, we got him first, and Matt Cardona and Brian Myers. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys. I think Brian Myers definitely was under 6 months. I wouldn't be surprised if you were to tell me, oh no, he popped up 3 months after Cardona, Lee. I wouldn't be surprised if you told me that, but definitely under 6 months, Brian Myers shows up. Okay, so my whole thing was, what made sound good on paper, hey, two best friends, why not put them in a feud with each other? That always works. You can always get the best out of. You look at Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, HBK, Shawn Michaels, Triple H. List goes on and on and on and on and on. Hell, Chris Jericho, Kevin Owens. The list goes on and on and on. But for me, I just personally felt, no, we need to have those Impact fans continue to have more of an investment in Matt Cardona before we just, boom. So I just kind of felt it never did really get off on the right foot. And then what always played to my suspicion, which was confirmed tonight, these guys are still doing their little toy podcast. They never stopped. It's okay, you're doing this toy podcast, and yet somehow you guys coexist on this toy podcast, and there's jokes, you guys are getting along and all that shit, and yet I'm supposed to check you guys out on TV because you all hate each other's guts. I even asked the question, it never did get answered. So I'll pose the question here, and if you listen to them and you want to answer it, go ahead, just for clarity. But I even had said something along the lines of, if you're going to continue to do the podcast, then it makes all the sense in the world to let one person, do their thing, hijack the show for that respected week. They talk about, whatever with their guests. And then you rotate it, since on TV there is supposed to be this rivalry that's going on. If that has been happening on their podcast, please let me know, because at least I can say, all right, well, kayfabe isn't totally dead, all right? But yeah, this felt like a pre-show. No, I won't even say this felt like a pre-show match, because what Jessica Havok and them did, for what I saw, I thought it was entertaining. I thought it was decent. I enjoyed it much more than Cardona and Ryder. I just couldn't wait for Cardona and Ryder. I say Cardona and Ryder. It's the same fucking person. For Ryder, and I'm just going to start calling him Zack Ryder. I just couldn't wait for Zack Ryder and Brian Myers to end already. That's just me. Teach its own, baby. That's just me personally. I mean, decent, okay match. It was decent for what it was worth, but just didn't do it for me. I was ready for the next one. Tony Khan was backstage with some of his AEW personnel. That included Aubrey Edwards, Scott D'Amore with Brian Hebner. Khan is a little bit skeptical about what's going on with that main event match for later on. And, he's also questioning Brian Hebner. And, he's wondering, okay, is Brian Hebner really going to be calling this right down the middle? Like, seriously, his last name is Hebner. So Scott D'Amore comes up with the idea, okay, you know what, for a match of this caliber, let's go on ahead and let's have both of our referees for our respective companies be calling this match. Make sure that as far as right down the middle goes, we definitely get a definitive winner, no controversy. So Khan agrees to that. Impact Knockouts Tag Team Championship match, Fire and Flava taking on Jordynne Grace and Rachael Ellering. Rachael Ellering, man, it is so amazing how she looks so much like her dad, isn't it? I just couldn't help but look at that and say, my God. I mean, a chip off the old block. Seriously, a chip off the old block. This was her Impact Wrestling debut, by the way. And we got hit with another surprise. Jazz graced us with her appearance. We saw the nice big retirement for her and everything. And then just when we thought Jazz was done, we find out that Jazz tonight at Rebellion, she apparently had got approved for a manager's license. So she's going to be continuing on in Impact. She's going to be managing different talents. And one of the first talents that she's representing was Rachael Ellering and Jordynne Grace. So yeah, so we had that set up. Ellering looks great. She's gotten a little bit thicker, and I ain't complaining. I like my women thick, man. I mean, I was in heaven with all the thickness that was going on there. I just felt like, chocolate pudding, white pudding. I'm just like, mocha latte pudding. I'm having a field day. I'm enjoying myself here. A lot of cool action there. We got new Knockouts champions in Jordynne Grace and Rachael Ellering. So let me see, if I got this straight. We have Fire and Flava. They go through this tournament to become, the Knockouts Tag Champions, to become the new Knockouts Tag Champions. Contrary to how some people may feel about, first time. Now, this wasn't no first time ever. This was just basically the titles being reactivated. Okay, so let's make sure we get that straight. But when you look at their reign as tag champions, here's where it gets kind of interesting here, because I'm looking at their history here. Bear with me a second here. They won the titles January 16th, 2021 at the Hard to Kill event. So think about that for a second. So, if you're being technical, a little bit over 3 months, give or take, a little bit over 3 months that they were tag team champions. And you guys know how much of a big fan I am of Kiera Hogan and Tasha Steelz. I mean, they are money. They are fucking entertaining as hell. One of my personal favorites when it comes to Impact each and every single week. I love watching them, seeing what they're going to do, whether it's in the ring or they're doing some type of sketches in the back. I love those girls tremendously. And Kiera Hogan has come a long way. Anybody that has checked out my shows for at least a couple of years now, you know how much I've been singing the praises of Kiera Hogan. So 3 months, and we got this newly formed team of Jordynne Grace, Rachael Ellering that just come in. They just come in and just out the gate, they dethrone Fire and Flavor. I mean, that for me was just mind-boggling. It really was, because I really felt as though the way this match was booked, I really felt that what the true story should have been here, that ultimately was fed to the commentators, was, okay, this Jordynne Grace, Rachael Ellering, this is a new team. As far as we know, these girls have never teamed up before outside of Impact. How well would they gel together here tonight? Because Fire and Flav, not for nothing, but, they've been at this now for some months. These girls know each other like the back of their hands. They've got, to say chemistry is an understatement. How much of that is maybe going to play a factor in, what do I always tell you guys? The chase is better than the catch. I personally would have loved it if we would have seen Rachael Ellering, Jordynne Grace. I'm okay with them ultimately becoming knockout tag champions. But my whole thing is the chase is better than the catch. Why not have them lose in this first effort against the Knockouts tag champs? But they continue to chase after them. And, at least that way, you could, pretty much say a month from now or 2 months from now, you can go that way. You're pretty much building them up even more. Now, on the other hand, to be devil's advocate a little bit, you could make the argument, well, think about it, Lee. Not for nothing, but in storyline, Jordynne Grace couldn't quite go all the way. She couldn't, she was able to get to that mountaintop, but she wasn't able to successfully go over. And you can make the argument that in regards to Jazz was a bit, she a seasoned veteran. Father Time was kind of catching up to her and everything. Everything is still intact in the mind, but the body, right? Different story and everything. So, that's why they only were able to get to a certain point where they were able to get to. And so now that you've got somebody much younger than Jazz that's partnered up with Jordynne Grace, kind of even up the odds a little bit. She's old. Jordynne finally is able to go over that mountain. Now, flip side to that, or rather a complimentary piece to that. You got even more buzz on this Rachael Ellering person. For people that aren't familiar with her work, she did spend a hot cup of coffee minute in WWE. She was over there in the NXT division. And for whatever respected reason, I never did understand it for the love of me, but they just released her. You didn't hear anything negative about her. There was nothing. No controversy. Nothing. They just released her. And I always felt, of all the signings, I felt that was a huge mistake. I felt that they had missed out. So what is one person's loss, another person's gain. So you got that nice buzz that's happening there, with Rachael Ellering, because now you got people, who is this chick? I need to learn more about her. Now they're gonna go do their research, and it also creates buzz for one of the very next times that you start checking out Impact programming and everything. So, it's kind of cool when you kind of stop and think about it, because I can definitely understand some of you guys that might be like me and are saying, nah, man, at least for tonight, Fire and Flav had no business losing those knockouts, tag titles. A little bit of a short match. Do you see the theme that's going on here? So far, we've got these matches that are, 9 minutes here, 10 minutes here. It's like, okay, when are we going to get some serious meat and potatoes? Maybe our last man standing match, Sami Callihan taking on Trey Miguel. Surely that's the match where, maybe we're going to get some serious meat and potatoes, right? Could be, could be. Boys went an extra 5 minutes. I don't know if you want to consider that meat and potatoes, but they basically had got 15 minutes and change to tell their story in their last man standing match. Trey Miguel defeating Sami Callihan. If you were to tell me that on the same pay-per-view card, Ace Austin, I don't care what anybody says, I think Ace Austin is, he's coming along. I think he's a pretty good heel. So if you were to tell me that, your two top best heels in Impact Wrestling in Ace Austin and Sami Callihan, that they're both going to lose on the same pay-per-view card, I would say to you, really? Like, that, something doesn't sound right. But Trey Miguel defeating Sami Callihan in this last man standing match. First of all, a little bit of sloppiness going on in this one. And on top of that, there were spots in this match that just irked me the hell out. For example, how you going to do a fucking pile driver to somebody and sell the son of a bitch? I mean, that for me was just, kind of, wait a minute, man. Come on now, how we just gonna do this pile driver? Pile driver, see, it's not just a case where, motherfucker had took a pile driver. No, a motherfucker, takes a fucking pile driver through a table. And you pretty much like, no sell it. Like, come on, man. Like, that for me was just no selling the pile driver. Then you go through a table. I'm a stickler for detail. You guys got to forgive me, but I'm a stickler for detail. That shit was just kind of blowing me. That shit was blowing me with that one. But I'm normally into last man standing matches, but the pacing of this particular match I felt was constantly being interrupted. Like the flow of this fight that you were seeing play out before your eyes. I just felt that once that buildup was starting to happen, it just kept getting interrupted. Just picture, for example, here's a perfect analogy. You're out on a date. Your first date with this person, things are going good, the vibing, everything is just right. You watching a nice little movie or whatever at the theater, you got your arm around that cutie and you about ready to go in for a kiss, and then all of a sudden one of y'all phone vibrates or the sound goes off. It's an important call, motherfucker needs to take it, right? And then you try to build yourself up to that point again, and the same shit just keeps happening over and over and over again. It felt like right as things were starting to pop with this last man standing, that's when all of a sudden we get just the obnoxious referee going in there with the counting and all that. It was just, you had some really nice fun spots where, people were crashing pretty hard and everything. But I've seen better last man standing matches. Let me know what you think. But I've seen better last man standing matches. It's not a knock to Sami Callihan or Trey Miguel. I mean, they're two phenomenal talents. But I've seen them in better matches, respectfully. And that's the straight up truth. Impact Tag titles on the line. Good Brothers taking on FinJuice. Okay match. Both teams pretty much played up to their strengths and everything. About 10 minutes, 32 seconds of a match. It was okay. It was a nice little, kind of felt like a Sunday night heat match. Kind of felt like a velocity type of match. I mean, you guys got to forgive me because FinJuice, I don't know what's going on with them in New Japan. I don't know if they're looked upon as new kids on the block or something, or what. But for me, I just see them and I go, okay, I'm trying to understand. And look, this isn't me being a dick. Just hear me out. Just hear me out. But with FinJuice, I just go, okay, well, can I connect to you from a personality standpoint? Well, what's up with the personalities? There's nothing there from a personality standpoint that I've seen so far with FinJuice. And you guys got to remember, this is my first time being able to watch this team pretty much now that they're on American television. Okay, now you guys can tell me, Lee, they are phenomenal in New Japan. You got to watch their shit in New Japan. They're being too watered down in Impact. Okay, you come at me like that, I'll meet you halfway. I'll check out their shit from New Japan. But what I'm seeing of them so far in the Impact universe, as far as personality goes, I'm not seeing anything from them. As far as in the ring goes, look, I got to be honest with you. Personally, I find best friends to be more entertaining in the ring and outside the ring than FinJuice. Convince me otherwise. Tell me I'm wrong. I'd love to hear your argument, but that's just where I am with that one. Good Brothers, Good Brothers, they're that type of tag team where you just aren't sure what type of Good Brothers are you going to get. You don't know if you're going to get the Good Brothers that's actually going to show up and they're going to try to put on a fucking entertaining match, or if they're just going to, kind of just stick to the fundamentals, just wing it, or if they're going to be doing a lot of half-assing. Tonight just felt like, let's just go in with the fundamentals and, tell a little story here. It was okay. 1 to 5 star match, wasn't, speaking of stars, out of 5 stars, 2.5 out of 5, I can't go any, it was an average match. I can't go any higher. I can't go any lower. Shit, anytime I would rather, now I will give Impact Wrestling props. I will give them props, because I remember I talked about this off and on the past couple of weeks, which was, hey, Impact, when you're doing your pay-per-views, come on, man, we don't need to be going to Swingman's Palace, daddy-yo, leave that shit be. Just have that be for your TV shows. If you want to maybe let that be for the Impact Plus, since people are actually paying for it, I can even kind of understand that. But the actual pay-per-view where people are coming out of their pocket, spending that serious dough, we're good with the Swingers Palace stuff, man. Seriously, we're good. If you'd have told me, Lee, you have a choice. You can have a Swingers Palace segment in place of FinJuice taking on Good Brothers, which one are you going to go with? I'd go with Swingers Palace. At least I get a chuckle. At least they always get some type of a reaction out of me when it comes to it. This one, I just looked at it and I just, it is what it is. Convince me otherwise. Shout out to our New Japan Pro Wrestling fans out there. Now that you've heard that, I'm sure you guys are going to be like, no, Lee. These guys are really fucking good. Show me the New Japan. Give me your New Japan recommendations and I will check it out. I promise you, I will check it out. But they ain't winning me over on the personality. And as far as in the ring goes, it just, so far it's just coming off very, very average. Nothing that's really monumental right now. Let's keep rocking and rolling here. We got another match. Oh, yeah. We got our Impact Knockouts title match. Deonna Purrazo defending against Tenille Dashwood. This one went about 9 minutes, 45 seconds. You hearing this theme so far? We got 11 minutes and change, 10 minutes and change, 9 minutes and change, 15 minutes and change, 10 minutes and change. And now here we are again. We got about 9 minutes and some change here. All pretty sure. I thought for sure that with regards to the Knockouts match, I thought for sure that with two great, phenomenal talents in Deonna Purrazo and Tenille Dashwood, I thought for sure they were going to go on ahead and let these girls just give them 15, maybe 20 minutes, just let them go out there, let them put on a freaking classic. With regards to women's, by the way, I see a question in the chat. Why did they put the women's tag team titles on a team that is brand new, but not Havok and Nevaeh? Well, respectfully, we got to get you kind of caught up to speed. No, Nevaeh is no longer with Impact Wrestling. And if I'm not mistaken, when it comes particularly, I think as we speak right now, probably this weekend, maybe the next couple of days, Impact should be, as we speak, filming their next batch of shows that's pretty much gonna hold them for the next several weeks. And Nevaeh is not gonna be on any of those shows. So Nevaeh, the angle last that I had saw, because I missed maybe one or two episodes here and there, she ultimately betrayed Jessica Havok. So as far as the whole team of Havok and Nevaeh, that's no more. That's why, if you think about it, earlier, you might have missed it, but earlier, the pre-show match, it was Rosemary and Jessica Havok that teamed up to take on Kimber and Susan. So I've missed maybe 2 episodes of Impact within recent weeks, so I'll have to rely on you guys if Nevaeh is still, but last I heard, Nevaeh's done. So, unless there's maybe 1 or 2 more appearances she's going to be making, for sure, these next batch of tapings that's underway, almost in the can, she's not going to be on any of those. So, but to your point, yeah, definitely from what we talked about earlier. Yeah, no doubt about that. Like I said earlier, the chase is better than the catch. Build them up. Deonna Purrazo, Tenille Dashwood. Disappointed that these girls didn't go, like I said earlier, 15 to 20 minutes, because these two fucking... Does anybody remember the very last match that Emma had in WWE? Shout out if you remember the opponent that she faced. I mean, that one match right there, you were just reminded of, wow, how fucking underutilized, poorly utilized Emma was in WWE. And, I gotta tell you, I'm a fan of Tenille Dashwood. I haven't been liking the whole code, pause, just stop and go that's been happening with her in Impact. I haven't been liking that at all. So to see her in a position where just out of the clear blue, she wins this contenders match to become the one to face Deonna for the Knockouts Championship. No way did I even think no. I mean, I think anybody that was going into this, that's been following the Impact product, yeah, Tenille Dashwood ain't got this, without a doubt. She ain't got this. And you definitely were right. The little bit that we saw of the match, though, I mean, it was good. I mean, I like the fact that the story that they pretty much had told here, I love the fact that they did their best to make Tenille Dashwood come off very competitive. I loved how they properly built her up. And everything. The commentating team, Matt Striker and D'Lo Brown, they did pretty good tonight. Although I did chuckle my ass off when we had the spot there with Cardona and Myers, and Cardona was favoring his knee. And remember, that was the tell of the tape that ultimately helped Myers pick up the W. And I loved at one point, D'Lo Brown, he says it was either D'Lo or Matt Striker. One of them says some shit like, I'm not a doctor and I don't play one on TV, but that knee is definitely injured, or some shit like that. And I just lost my shit. I just thought that was the funniest thing that I had heard. I just, it's like, I'm not a surgeon and I don't play one on TV, but I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure with your kidneys exploding there, you're gonna need some surgery. It's kind of one of those type of deals, man. One of those type of deals. But this was good shit. I gotta tell you guys, and I know I've been very critical. I've been very hard of Deonna Purrazo. I've basically been previously in the past few months been doing my Jerry Seinfeld. What's going on with this Deonna Purrazo? I mean, tell me why. What's the deal? Why is she calling herself the virtuoso? What is so virtuoso about her? I don't know. I don't know. That was me a couple of months back, and she's finally winning me over. I mean, she's a fucking beast. I love that little pint size little firecracker. I mean, she truly is going up there, and she's living up to that whole virtuoso performance, man. I mean, you just can't help but wonder who is next. Who might be that one that could possibly take that knockouts title away from her. We've seen so many that have tried and they all keep coming up short. There was a serious numbers game that was going on here too, by the way, with Deonna Purrazo defending that title. We're getting ready to talk about the main event. If you can't wait, Wikipedia is your best friend, my brother. I mean, by now it's all over the place, all right? That's not how we do it on this show. I wish we could just come on here, do a show, and just be like, all right, so this is your WWE Raw results for May 26, 2021. Kevin Owens stunned the shit out of Adam Pearce. Nia Jax defeated Lana. Bobby Lashley defeated... give me a name. Bobby Lashley defeated Tajiri. Drew McIntyre took on MVP. He got his ass handed to him once again by T-Bar and Mace. And that's it. That's your Raw review. Subscribe. Nah, we ain't doing that shit, my brothers. We ain't doing that shit. Anyway, closing moments here. Numbers game. We were talking about earlier, Deonna Purrazo there with Tenille Dashwood. I mean, fucking Susan and Kimberly. I mean, they just kept running interference every fucking time you turned around in this joint. Closing moments on this one, Deonna went up to the top rope looking for a high-risk maneuver. She actually tried to attempt a flying headbutt. Tenille moved at the last freaking second. Then Tenille comes in with a diving drop kick off the ropes. Kimber, meanwhile, pulls Tenille out to the outside of the ring. She eventually gets back in there, but gets hit with an exploder suplex. Deonna follows up with a Fujiwara armbar. Dashwood's able to get out of it. Knife edge chop to Tenille. Stomp to the chest. Queen's Gambit. Boom. And you got the pin right there. Was able to retain. But definitely it was a numbers game. Post-match, there was about to be a serious beatdown on our girl Tenille Dashwood when all of a sudden we hear the music and we see her in the flesh. Taylor Wilde comes in. There's a knockout we haven't heard from in a good minute. She comes in there, makes a save for Tenille, takes out Kimber and Susan. Deonna, she's looking at everything that's going on. She was thinking about getting back in the ring, but she decided, nah, you know what? I'm good. I got my W. I'm gonna go celebrate at the club. I'm good. You can find me at the club doing my thing. It's all good. Taylor Wilde, back in the Impact Wrestling. You know what? I'm kind of happy. I'm kind of happy to be seeing her there again. I think about those early years there with TNA. I mean, God, what is it, like 2008? Mid late 2000s, right? For Taylor Wilde. So, she has some nice little moments. There's some nice little feuds. I remember the storyline with Sarita. she retired some years back, if you guys recall. It didn't last that long though, because well, actually no, it did last a good minute. For those of you that might be a little bit curious, she retired sometime 2010, 2011. That's when she had announced her retirement, and she wanted to focus more on her psychology studies. So she was actually thinking about, and you know what? Ain't nothing wrong with that. Ain't nothing wrong with that. You always got to have something else that you can fall back on, because if you're an athlete, particularly, that respected sport, that respected medium, it's not forever. So it's actually pretty good to have something to fall back on, because you just never know. In the blink of an eye, your life can freaking change as you know it. So it's always good to have something you can fall back on, in case of an emergency, or you can juggle it and juggle whatever that other passion is that you always wanted to do as well. So that's pretty much what was going on with her. But 10 years, that's a nice little long time to be retired and everything. Former Knockouts champion, former two-time Knockouts tag champion. Remember, she is the inaugural tag champion. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I'm just saying, kind of would have made a little bit more sense for me personally if it would have been a case where we flipped the script. You feel where I'm coming from? I think we should have taken Taylor Wilde, the very first Knockouts tag team champion. We should have taken her, have her be the surprise tag partner for Jordynne Grace. Still do the chase. Remember what I said earlier, the chase is better than the catch. Still do the chase, but that would have made a lot more sense. And then put Rachael Ellering in the position that Taylor Wilde. You feel where I'm coming from? So, but I'm happy that Taylor Wilde decided to, I don't know how long it's going to be. For those of you that's curious, she's 35 years of age. So, I mean, still relatively young and everything. So, I don't know how long this ride's going to last with her in Impact this go round. She actually was one of my favorites back in the day of TNA there. So, all right, guys, we got one more match to talk about. Big Cas. We already talked about Big Cas. Talked about him. Like, that's a beautiful thing. When we're live, by the way, if you guys are a little bit curious about like, oh man, I missed this, I missed that. When we're live, you can actually just hit that little dot scroll. You can rewind it back. Something else that I'm starting to do now with the shows on YouTube, I'm adding timestamps. Once the show's done, it's in post-production, it's ready to go. You just check out the episode description. I'm now putting timestamps so you guys will be able to seek and get to the parts that you want to get to a little bit quicker. One more time, you guys been enjoying yourself. Do me a huge favor. See, there's a decent amount of you tuning in right now. Please hit that like button. I know a lot of people, they want that Impact coverage and everything. More than willing to hook up y'all with that fix and everything. But make sure, if you haven't done so already, you hit the like button. You're pretty much letting YouTube know, you're having yourself a good time and you recommend it for other people to check out. And subscribe. Click that bell notification so you don't miss out on all the content. We're going to be right back here Monday night after Raw goes off the air. All right. Here we are. Winner takes all. Title versus title. AEW Championship on the line against the Impact World Championship. Kenny Omega, Rich Swann. Winner takes all. First off, sloppy match. Let's get the bad out the way. We'll try to figure out the good. Sloppy match. Been watching Rich Swann for a long time. No Kenny Omega expert, but I've seen a decent amount of his stuff courtesy of New Japan. Proud to say, right before the whole Jericho Omega thing went down, was watching him in New Japan. Been watching him in AEW. For both of these men, It was a good match, but there was a lot of sloppiness to it. For me, there was way too much, we'll see how high I can get my knee up, but for me, there was way too much of this going on. There was goddamn, I thought we were like doing a whole new fucking dance here. I'm just like, dale pues, Maria Macarena, la pin la piel is avea, la Macarena, hey Macarena, hi, god damn, I've never seen so much goddamn leg slapping in my entire fucking life. And it wasn't like, I'm usually not paying attention to that shit. No bullshit. I'm usually not, anybody that listens to the show has been listening for years. I'm usually not paying attention to that shit. But there was just so much of that shit just being spammed out in this match that after a while, I just couldn't help but go, ay, can we tone this shit down? Mad fucking overkills on the V-Trigger. I think it was Cleric. I'm trying to remember who said it. But somebody was like, there's no limits. I'm like, the fuck there is. It's like every freaking 30 seconds. V-Trigger. 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 I felt like I was watching a bad video game. And sadly, the person that entered the online multiplayer mode or whatever, online versus mode, I kind of felt like they did some type of code, a Game Genie code or Game Shark code or some shit, Code Breaker code. I feel like they did some stupid shit where they gave themselves unlimited signatures and finishers. And they're taking on, poor 12-year-old Dewey who's trying to figure out the fucking video game, and poor little 12-year-old Dewey is getting his ass owned by this guy that's, V-Trigger, 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 and it's like, can we stop with the guy? I'm not exaggerating. God, we lost count because we all were counting that was watching this. We lost count after 6. Now, supposedly, the record for tonight, 12 V-Triggers. 12 V-Triggers. I don't know if that's the official number. But Jesus, you're like, okay, just end this already. Like serious. On the one hand, you're looking at this and you're going, oh man, they're doing a pretty good job building up Rich Swann here. They're trying to make him look, really tough. They're trying to make him come off like a formidable opponent here and everything, and just the fact that this championship, it's so important, and right, you're trying to get lost in that whole story and everything, but it's kind of hard to do so when all of that slapping around crap and the spamming out of, just if it wasn't a V-Trigger, then maybe it was the what's that move that Kenny Omega likes to do? It's kind of like when I see it, it reminds me of a Michinoku driver, but I know it's not. That's not what he calls it. You know exactly what I'm talking about. If you can post the name in the chat, he did that multiple times, and it's like, okay, we're seeing all these signatures, these signature moves, these defining moves. You understand what I'm saying? Like the Stone Cold Stunner, the Pedigree, the Code Breaker. When those guys hit that, the match is over. The RKO, when those moves hit, that's it. Motherfucker ain't kicking out. Once in a blue moon. Tombstone Power Driver. Once in a blue moon. You're going to get somebody that's going to kick out. Once in a blue moon. Hell, maybe even twice. But to be able to just continue to kick out of it, it just eliminates the whole suspension of disbelief. And it in my opinion, it really hurts that performer. It really does, especially if that's like their calling card and everything. So I really wasn't feeling that. I went into this match under the impression that Don Callis was gonna cause some type of fuckery, and he was gonna show his true colors, and it turns out he was Team Impact the entire time, and he was gonna somehow screw Kenny Omega and help Rich Swann become the AEW World Champion. I thought for sure that maybe was the direction we were gonna go. Something else I had put out there, I said, well, you know what? Not for nothing. We ain't seen Moose in a minute. Could Moose maybe play some type of a factor in all of this? Or is maybe somebody, entirely new that we haven't thought of? Rumblings of Osaka, maybe Osaka, maybe Tanahashi. Some people kept throwing around Tanahashi. So, like all these names that, you're just throwing around and you're like, okay, yeah, maybe. And we didn't get any of that tonight. We didn't get any of that. All we basically had was a knee slapping fest. And I tell you what was truly the saving grace of this main event match. Mauro fucking Ranallo. Mauro Ranallo was the MVP. He saved this fucking match. I can't tell you how much I felt like a little kid again. Every time I used to watch Mauro Ranallo on NXT, he had me feeling like a little kid. That little kid that was watching, pro wrestling, growing up on the south side of Chicago and the weekends in the bed with my grandmother, and and we're eating a nice big old breakfast as we're watching wrestling and everything. Great fucking times. I mean, Mauro Ranallo was taking me back with his commentating. So to see Mauro Ranallo and Impact Wrestling, number one, it felt like Mauro Ranallo never left pro wrestling as far as commentating goes. It felt like he never left. I mean, we know Mauro Ranallo by now, especially if we saw his rock and roll, his bipolar rock and roller documentary from Showtime. We know that this guy very meticulous. I mean, he spends hours upon hours. He spends hours upon hours prepping, and you're going to get the absolute best. Whether it comes to wrestling or it comes to, boxing or MMA, Mauro is always gonna fucking bring it. You know what I'm saying? And no, to Mike in the chat, no, you don't be stupid. Come on. If you're gonna bust my balls and you want to have some fun, I'm down with that. I can joke, I can make fun of myself with the best of them, but to say, oh, did Mauro turn you on? I'm saying that for a brief second in time. Think before you type, think before you open your mouth. I'm saying that he took me back to that feeling that I had as a little kid when I was watching wrestling. And sometimes for me, it was not only about the color comment, it wasn't about the wrestlers that was in the ring. Sometimes for me, it was about those color commentators. You're talking to somebody that grew up on the late Bobby the Brain Heenan, Gorilla Monsoon, and just their great back and forth banter. I even enjoyed the work of Vince McMahon and Randy Savage. Very rare will you come across something where you're reminded of your childhood, and just for a brief moment in time, you go back. You go back to that place of innocence. You go back to that time when, remember when this was cool? Hey, remember this? Hey, remember that? Come on, dude. Come on. Like I said, I can joke with the best of them. I'll crack on you, but I mean, to say something like that, come on. Come on. Not cool, my friend. Not cool. Not cool. And I'm laid back like a motherfucker. I respect any and everybody. I treat people the way I want to be treated. And that's with respect. And, I find it kind of weird because we got a lot of people that's watching this live right now. And I'm sure many other people definitely knew what I was talking about. And yet we got somebody that that is going in that direction. It's like, wow, that's crazy. That's crazy. Even Explorer with Terry knows exactly what I'm talking about. He's saying those were some great days. Lance Russell from USWA was a great announcer. Indeed he was. Indeed he was. There was just an excitement. There was a buzz. Even with that legendary team of Jerry Lawler, Jim Ross, there was that excitement, that you had going on. Let's be honest, in case you guys haven't quite figured it out yet, today's commentating team that's running around for some of these promotions are some shit. There's no excitement. There's no creativity. They generate no buzz. I ain't mean to go off on that, but you guys know exactly what I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying? Need I remind you, because we talk about it here weekly, NWA Power, Velvet Skies commentating. Okay, yeah, we want to talk about being aroused and all that. Okay, she's got a great set of knockers, but as far as selling me on the action that's going on in the ring, trying to tell me the story, trying to have me be invested in the product, she sucks balls. And I ain't talking about of the boys. Rich Swann, Kenny Omega, I wanted to go into this and I really wanted to like this match. I really wanted to get into this motherfucker. But sadly, with all of the stuff that I was talking about going on, it was really hard to get into it. It was decent. It was decent for what it was worth. I liked it when we had the spot go down where Brian Hebner was taken out of the equation. I thought that was a good little spot right there. And then you're kind of wondering, okay, how's this going to play out? Who's maybe going to interfere here or whatever? Kenny Omega at that point grabs a steel chair while Hebner is out. He's thinking he's going to be able to go to work on which one with it. Aubrey Edwards, she's already in the ring. She's behind him. She sees this and she yanks that steel chair away and she tells him verbatim, no, you're not going to win it like this. It's going to be a clean fight. No, we're not doing it like this. Clean fight. So I like seeing her do that. I love the fact that Tony Khan representing AEW. I love the fact that he's there at ringside watching everything that's going on. I love the fact that you got Scott D'Amore and some other Impact officials. They're watching as well. They're seeing everything that's going on. So I love the fact that you go into this and it's pretty much a okay, great importance. I love that great main event type of feel that they had put to this match. You know what I'm saying? And bear with me a second here. Bear with me one quick second here. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. And there we go. And we are good. But yeah. So that was good. Let me read to you guys a couple of more notes because I did take down some notes about what had happened here with the rest of the match here. All right, bear with me a second here. Let's see, Omega, Swann. So I told you guys the spot there with the refs, Aubrey Edwards. Let's pick it up here. Yeah. So continuing on, honestly, you kept seeing a lot of fucking J drillers, German suplexes, V triggers. I mean, it was. I wish I could really break this match down, but it was just a whole bunch of spam in here. How would you guys describe what we saw for this whole match? How would you guys describe the final moments of that matchup? Because I mean, the way I looked at it in the final moments, Omega was coming off of the ropes and repeatedly he was going with the knees to the face of Rich Swann. The camera angles that they had, by the way, I was getting a little bit nauseous with the camera angles. I mean, it kind of felt like they were doing a bit too much cutting
for me personally, but Omega was connecting multiple times with the knee to the face of Swann. Swann dazed like a mofo. One last, I think he must have hit Swann at least about 3 times in the face with that knee. He was getting ready to go in for a fourth attempt, but then all of a sudden, Swann just collapses. I mean, he just pretty much falls on his face, and Omega's looking at this and he's going, look at that. Look at that. Whoop this dude so bad. Look at this. And you're kind of like, okay, so surely this is over now, right? Because at this point, you're kind of feeling as though, okay, let's bring this home because we're seeing too much of the same thing. We're not really getting any new elements here. We're not getting a case of there's a bunch of cooks in the kitchen, a lot of hands in the pot here. We're not really getting that. So let's go ahead, let's wrap this up. Let's bring it on home and everything. And Omega tried to set up Swann one more time, but that last little bit of stamina, somehow Swann was able to go in, starts countering some of Omega's attacks. Swann tried to go for the Phoenix Splash. He hopped up to the second rope, jumped. Omega moved just in time. Omega comes in with another V-trigger. And pretty much that was it. I gotta tell you, I was expecting fuckery. Some type of fuckery, regardless if it was going to be Omega or if it was going to be Swann. I was expecting for there to be some type of fuckery. And the fact that we did not get it, think about that for a second. Rich Swann lost cleanly in the middle of the ring to Kenny Omega. I mean, that for me was just, wait a minute. Wait. Really? We're going to do it like this. We're going to do it like this. We're not going to end this in some type of controversy because after all, it's essentially been Kenny Omega's calling card since he's gone this new route and everything. Like, we're cleanly in the middle of the ring and you just can't help but go, how the hell is Rich Swann supposed to get his comeuppance? How is he supposed to come back from that? Right? Yeah, all right. So, I mean, we built up Rich Swann all these months. Bad enough you had people that really didn't believe him as a world heavyweight champion and everything, but we've spent these months building him up and everything, and we pretty much just essentially fed him on a platter to Kenny Omega like that. I just felt it really, on the one hand, you can make the argument, hey, Rich Swann looked really tough in this. But then on the other hand, you go, yeah, but he lost cleanly, in this match. And it's like, fuck are you supposed to go from there, I just felt it was a big old ball of bullshit that we had saw tonight. That's great that Impact Wrestling has been doing a little bit better in the numbers and everything. I mean, that's great and everything. But when you really just kind of take a step back and, you really look at things, look at how this AEW versus Impact has been going so far. AEW does their little TV spots on Access TV and all that every single week. They have their talents that pop up, all this good stuff. And when you watch Wednesday's Dynamite, hell, I'll do one even better. When you watch Elevation, when you watch Dark, is it reciprocated? Do you see Impact having a little? No, you don't see anything from Impact. You go to Dynamite, you never get anything. It's very one-sided. Very, very one-sided right now. The prospects originally some months back, it was promising. There was reason to have a little bit of excitement. The curiosity was there, and you're like, hey, this has a lot of potential to be really going somewhere. And now I'm just not truly convinced that Impact is really going to be getting the better end of this deal. Because, I mean, really stop and think about it. Really stop and think about it. Okay, so Kenny Omega is now the Impact champion. Okay, great. He's the Impact champion. What does that mean? Are we going to see a lot more of Kenny Omega on Impact? It could mean that, yeah, but is he going to be enough to bring in the numbers? You need a lot more than Omega, right down to the point. Look at some of the comments that you guys are making right now in the chat with regards to Omega and everything. Chicken Lover, I'm sorry, but I can't wait for Omega to lose. He's just not doing it for me. Anthony Hunt, Omega will never be better than Ric Flair. Hogan winning the Impact title means nothing. Or I guess he was, I think he was trying to say, Ric Flair, Hogan, etc., etc. He's never going to be in the likes of those guys, I think is what Anthony was trying to say there. See, what else are you guys saying? Hunter, I think Kenny Omega has 4 belts because he's the AAA Mega Champion, the Impact World Champion, the TNA World Champion, and the AEW World Champion. Yeah, hey, if that's true, then that's true. But I just don't know if Omega is really gonna be enough to. You feel where I'm coming from? I'm very, very curious what exactly has been laid out to Impact Wrestling exactly in order for them to come on board with this and say, yeah, we're all in. Because right now, and I think many of you guys would agree, right now they are looking like chumps. They're literally opening their mouths. Please, won't you piss in my mouth? Please piss in my mouth. I'll take it. I'll drink it. I mean that's literally how it's coming off right now. And for me personally, the last thing I want to do is watch AEW Dark, AEW Elevation, Dynamite. Like, just think about that. Storyline wise, there should be some pissed off talents in Impact that should be going, this is the ultimate war. Like, no more. We allowed this company to come in here and pretty much, like, no more. We start putting our foot down now. We start taking back what's ours. We start, it's now about the hostile takeover. We've allowed these guys to no more. You would hope that going into this week's programming, we're maybe gonna somehow slide into some type of a position like that. But I bet you, just based on everything that's been happening so far, we're probably not even going to get that. Look, perfect world, it would go down exactly how I'm saying. It would go down exactly how I'm saying. The fact that we didn't even get Rich Swann to at least cross over to Dynamite programming in anticipation of this match at Rebellion, that should tell you guys and girls all you need to know about how everything has been booked. The lacking of. And, this isn't coming from a fan that's bitter in any type of way. I just want for the very best, and it's just coming off so one-sided. You're scratching your head and you're like, where are we really going with this? Because it feels like so far we're on this ride and it ain't going nowhere. And if anything, it just feels like the bottom dollar as far as Kenny Omega brand, the AEW brand, they're getting all that and then some, while Impact isn't. You feel where I'm coming from? So it's a very interesting position. It's a very interesting position that's going on. I'll tell you what I'll do. Right now. I want to create a poll for you guys right now. Hop over to youtube.com/the RCWR show and go click on the communities tab. And I'm going to put you guys on the spot right now.
And I'm asking you guys, how would you rate this weekend's Impact, give me a second here, Rebellion pay-per-view? And I'm going to give you a thumbs up. I'm going to give you a thumbs down. And for those of you that want to staying in the middle, I'm going to give you that option as well. And it's live right now. So head on over there to the communities tab. And while you guys are voting, and we'll see if we can get a nice little snapshot real quick. Let me give you guys a quick programming note. We'll be back live Monday, 11 p.m. Eastern, after WWE Raw goes off the air. So tune in for that. That's going to be a good show. We're going to be going a little bit all over the place on that one. We'll definitely talk about Raw Fallout, latest in wrestling headlines, and beyond. Should be a pretty good show, so look forward to that. Should be pretty solid. And then what else? Oh, Patreon members and everybody else, actually. There's a special free-for-all edition of Wrestling with the Topics that's available for everybody to check out right now. So you can either go on our Patreon page at patreon.com/RCWR show. You can scoop up that version without the ads, or you can listen to it wherever you get your podcasts. It was a great episode I had hosted with the missus. Been receiving some decent feedback with regards to that episode. We actually had put that out sometime Sunday. And by the way, shout out to our Patreon members. Love our Patreon familia. Patreon.com/RCWR show. Check that out. Check out bonus audio, video content. Won't be able to find anywhere else. $5 a month. Get you access to that solid content. I'm buying you guys some time so I can get a snapshot of the poll there. Shout out to our Patreon members, Anthony DeBlasi. Shout out to my friend. Shout out to Freddie. Shout out to Gino Morgan. Tony Bean Gaming, one of the very latest in all things Marvel Strike Force, Marvel's Avengers, Marvel's Ultimate Alliance 3 for your tips, tricks, news hookup. Tony Bean Gaming, check him out. He's on YouTube. He's got a Patreon paywall as well. Shout out to Michael Wolf, John Davis. Shout out to my man Screaming Bulls 1. Shout out to Wishful Walking Videos. Check them out. They're on YouTube. They're streaming new videos all the way through June. Check them out. You guys that's watching right now, I'm buying you guys time. YouTube.com/the RCWR show. Click on the communities tab. I see the amount of people that we got right now. You should be able to open up a new tab. Boom. Go over there real quick. Cast a vote. I want to get a snapshot only from those of you that saw Impact. I'm gonna buy you 2 more minutes just to see if we can get a better snapshot about what you guys had to what you guys feel about the pay-per-view before we get ready to stick a fork in it and call it DONE done here. But yeah, shout out to everybody. Let's read through some of you guys' comments. I'll buy you guys some more time and I'll read some of you guys' comments, what you're saying and everything. See here. Millennial said they giving Omega the Roman Reigns 2015 push. Yeah, it's something, ain't it? It's something. It's some kind of push they giving him. Let's see, Chicken. I'm just not interested with Omega. He was doing better in New Japan. I agree wholeheartedly. There's something about him in New Japan I fucked with that was just, ooh, this is different. This is, yeah, I mean, he was a badass in New Japan. I don't know what this version of Kenny Omega is that's running around right now, but I'm not liking it. I'm not liking it. You know, he's got to be, I know people said what they said about Drew McIntyre as the pandemic champion, and, he faced his criticism and everything, but, when you really just take a step back from its infancy to now, I mean, you can almost make a very valid case as far as Kenny Omega, AEW champion. You can definitely make the argument that he has been the weakest AEW world champion in the company's history so far.
You can definitely make that argument. There's a lot to support that too. There's a lot to support that. I see some of you all felt that the main event was a little bit rushed. I see that. Okay. All right. Let's see here. Really? So everybody, let me see if I got this straight. So everybody that's tuning in live right now, the majority of you did not watch the pay-per-view. Am I looking at that right? Because so far, I'm only seeing just a couple of votes. It's not matching up to how many people are watching live right now. We only got a couple of votes so far, and 100% are saying that the pay-per-view was a thumbs up. Just trying to make sure I'm getting you guys right. So, I tell you what. I'll tell you what. Let's do this. Let's do this before we get ready to go. Let's see here. See, vote. I'm gonna post something in the Discord. Vote on my community tab over at YouTube, and tell me what you thought of Impact Rebellion. All right, we'll do it like that, and I'll just put in a cheap plug here, and we'll say the RCWR show. All right, that's live. All right, so let's see if we can get a couple of more votes here, and then that's pretty much gonna do it. Let's see what else we got here. Maybe he needs the New Japan version of AEW. He just needs something for me to be, if he could do less talking and just let Don Callis do his thing, I mean, that definitely would be good for starters. But yeah, there is something missing. I don't know what it is. You know what? Here's a better question. Seth Rollins champion reign with Authority and J&J backing him up, or Kenny Omega winning all these titles from all these promotions? That's the real question, and I think that's a very fair comparison, because there were so many moaning and groaning when it came to that particular history in WWE with Seth Rollins at the helm. Man, and it wasn't one of those, it wasn't that good go away heat. All right, it was not that good go away heat. It was that get the fuck off my TV heat. You don't want that kind of heat, okay? So you can't help but kind of wonder, like, okay, of the two, who would you say is the worser champion? That's a damn good question, and I think I'm gonna create a new poll, and I'm gonna actually put that up, because I'm curious what you guys have to say with regards to that. And we can definitely go on ahead and end the show, because I tried to give you guys a little bit more of an opportunity to cast your vote, but it looks like a lot of you guys were kind of busy. So that makes me appreciate you guys even more, that had went out of your way to check out this live recap. I appreciate it. Please, for those of you that ended up, that's a good Kevin Owens Raw Champion 2000s. No, I actually thought that was a decent run. I legit did. I legit did. That's a good one. I'll tell you what, let's compromise. I'll still make that poll, but I'll maybe put in a other option, and that'll just basically be there for a person to actually leave the comment of and type out who that other person is that they think should be in there besides Rollins and Omega. Again, Rollins from that particular era that I was talking about earlier. So yeah, those of you that had checked out the post show, mad love, man. I appreciate you guys representing, tuning in and everything. Definitely means a lot. Please, one more time, you love what I did for you guys. You know what to do. And make sure you haven't done so, you hit that like and Click the subscribe button. Click on that bell notification so you don't miss out on all the content we got coming your way. All right. We'll be back Monday after Raw goes off the air. Hope I get to see some of you guys once again. It was fun what we did here tonight. Appreciate everybody that had tuned in live. Appreciate those of you that'll be checking this out on demand. And yeah, let's do it again. Get at me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Use the keywords the RCWR show. And until the next go round, I'm wishing all of y'all to be safe. Most importantly, be kind to one another. I'll see y'all next go round. Adios.